What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show, brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by John Luke Garofalo and ever so shortly, Joey Wright. And joining us today, we have a very special guest, our friend Nate Marcum here with us. Nate, thank you so much for taking the time to come and hang out with us today.
Oh, I'll jump on. I'll abandon everything possible to get on with you guys. Work, be gone. Family, get out of here.
Ooh, let's test this theory out, I think.
Tacos?
Okay, well, you found my...
There's a line somewhere.
There's a line,
I found it pretty quickly.
Yeah, okay.
Your grandma's fallen and she needs help getting up, but we asked you to be on the show. What are you going to do?
Man, you know what? My grandma's one of the coolest people, and she's still alive at 93. Here's a quick fun story. Number one, growing up, Michael Jordan games, used to go to her house. If I talked to Peep, I got smacked. Had to shut up during Michael Jordan games. Two, she had COVID on her 91st birthday, had a roommate in her assisted living. She went to a separate room by herself. When the nurses came to get her to bring her back to her singular room, she went, or with her roommate, she faked the cough so she got a spare room by herself to watch football because her roommate didn't like football. Right?
That pro move, not just for her, but for the roommate too. She was looking out for her roommate.
We'll reschedule you. Go help your grandma.
Right?
Right? She'll be on the show.
I was going to propose Life Alert, but it sounds like she does not need Life Alert. Well, everybody
Life
watching,
Alert calls her.
The awesomeness runs in the family, it turns out. And if you guys are not already following our friend Nate, you need to go and follow him on Twitter right now. You can find him at Nate Marcum, and you can also check out his work as a fantasy analyst at Fantasy and Frames. You're going to want to check it out because he is a top 5 IDP ranker over at Fantasy Pros, and you can find him as the host of the Shoot the Gap podcast as well. We got some people in the chat ready for today's show. Grim fan down here. Yay! Poll perception.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking for. Dustin coming in with the hashtag Team Joey, and we got our chat historian Craig in here, letting us know that today's guest Nate is making his 5th FYF appearance and playing in his 2nd game. Looking for some poll perception redemption after falling to Josh by only 3 points last time, but taking Joey down.
Redemption.
He's going to try to beat Joey again, take JL down for the first time, and see if we can get that dub.
I don't want to question our chat historian because he could start fudging my numbers, but I really feel like Nate's been here more than 5 times. Like, Craig, I trust you, but at the same time, I don't trust you on that. One fact.
It's because every time Nate's here, it fills your heart with so much joy. It feels like twice.
I talk so much,
it
feels like it lasts forever.
We got Carlos down here hyped for today's show with Front Yardigans. What's up, Carlos?
Let's go.
Welcome.
What up, Carlos?
Scampers down here saying good afternoon, FYF Club, and Dame stopping by as well. It's a beautiful day for some games. It is a beautiful day for some games. Scampers hyped to see Nate up here.
Yep.
And Jay hyped for some Thursday night football tonight. And Scott calling out Joey, saying that he was washing his hair out of the country. Joey, glad you made it back into the country. We got Albert stopping by saying hello. What's up, Albert? And we got some questions in here that we're going to hit before the show starts. I think we start off with one of these questions. It's Thursday, which means people got these start-sit questions for us. Grim wants to know, and this is a tough question, Kittle or Hawkinson in PPR? He's also starting Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown tonight, so wants to know if 3 players in one game with starting Hawk is the move or wait for Kittle. Nate, I'm going to throw this one to you. These 2 top-tier tight end options that Grim's deciding between. Would you go with Hawkinson on Thursday night, or are you waiting and rolling Kittle out there against the Rams?
I've been anti-Kittle from day one this year, and I feel like going a different way is probably not going to be great for my anti-Kittle hate. Or my Kittle hate, not anti-Kittle hate. Anti-Kittle love. That's the right way. I do. I'm gonna lean Hawkinson. I also love Thursday night games. I love having a piece of them. They never do me right, but I'm gonna still lean Hawkinson. I think the touchdown regression is still in against Kittle.
Nate, that last part you just said about Thursday night games, I do the same thing every time. Like, I'm such a sucker for plugging in a Thursday night player, and then the final score is like 7-3.
Yep. Every time.
Joey, you were all in on Hawkinson for a bit this preseason. Are you starting him over George Kittle, or are you rolling Kittle out there on Sunday?
I've got Hickinson. You know, it's so funny because there was just the whole thing about pronunciation of names. TJ Hawkinson. I have him as my tight end 3 this week. Listen, last week the Eagles gave up the most fantasy points to tight ends. So Hawkinson, very well could be the best option this week. I have him tight end 3, so yeah, I feel pretty comfortable with him.
What'd you say, JL?
Said, how big was that sample size?
1 game. However, it was last week. I said last week, right?
It's a 100% of the game's sample size.
100% of the game, yeah.
Take that into account. That's a strong number.
We got Jay stopping by in the chat saying, Joey, how dare you question the FYF historian? And Carlos says, is Joey trying to start a coup against Craig? Overthrow the historian?
No.
I think so.
I've already left the riffraff of being in the chat. I'm like on the show now. I would have no reason to do that to Craig.
Hey, watch out. We're running low on peanuts.
Archduke Craigathon.
We are running low on peanuts. All right. Well, guys, one more question in here before we get started. Actually, there's 2. Paper wanted to know, do I start Jamal Williams or DeAndre Swift? DeAndre Swift completely not involved in the game plan last week. Jail, I'm going to throw this one to you. Are you rolling Swift out there? Or are you rolling out Jamal Williams?
I'm going to roll with Jamal Williams. I like what he said about beignets. He said they're just funnel cakes.
Which I love funnel cakes and I love beignets. So he's not wrong and I'm not offended.
What was the sample size on Jamal Williams and his funnel cakes, JL? I was just curious.
I didn't watch him eat it, Joey. I just
what
heard
the
him
sample
talk
size
about
was.
it. There's no numbers here.
Just beignets, damn it. Nate, are you starting Jamal Williams or Swift?
Yeah, I'm gonna start Jamal Williams. I would love to see Swift, but I don't think I'd be shocked if it's an entire Rashad Penny game and Swift is guards. Then again, I wouldn't be shocked if it's honestly at anybody besides Kenneth Gainwell at this point.
Yeah, we got the worst quote you could imagine from the Eagles coaching staff about what they're going to do with running backs for the rest of the season. It's equivalent of Patrick Mahomes saying, yeah, whoever gets it that week gets it. And that's basically what Eagles told us they were going to do at the running back position. One more in here from our boy Carlos. Carlos wants to know, guys, please, what about this boy Roschon Johnson? If I were to start one and flex one, the options are Olave, Calvin Ridley, and Roschon Johnson. Joey, did Roschon Johnson do enough to crack this lineup in your mind, or are Olave and Ridley staying in those starting spots?
When I looked in the mirror this morning, I saw a man that I thought was cute, but I'm not going to get cute here. It's Ridley and Olave.
Joey was at the Chick-fil-A bathroom.
Yeah. Nate, are you plugging in Roschon over either of these 2 guys?
No. And I love that. I might steal that, Joey, going forward.
I've used it once before.
That's fantastic.
I'm a Roschon guy after week 1. I liked what I saw. His involvement in week 1, especially in the passing game, was absurd for a rookie running back in week 1. But you've got Olave and Calvin Ridley. I'm rolling those 2 guys in there.
That whole running back room is actually way heavily involved, or more heavily involved than I expected as a whole.
Yeah, significantly more involved. One more.
The Eagles running back room, is that what you're referring to?
Pardon me? The Bears.
The Eagles.
No, the Bears running back with Roschon down to Foreman, et cetera.
Right.
Yeah, I was after what we saw from Khalil Herbert last year, there was some optimism that he would take over, but they've got a talented group of backs there, and it doesn't look like they're willing to commit to just one. One more question from AS in here before we get into our game of poll perception. He wants to know, should I trade Puka Nacua and Joshua Kelly for Chris Godwin and Christian Kirk? So we'll start with that one. Jail, do you like that trade before we move on to the second option here? Do you like Puka Nacua and Josh Kelly for Chris Godwin and Christian Kirk?
Josh Kelly for Godwin and Christian Kirk?
Puka Nacua and Joshua Kelly for Chris Godwin and Christian Kirk.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
I would much rather have Godwin and Christian Kirk over those other 2.
And then on the other option, it's Damian Harris and Puka Nacua and Damian Harris for Chris Godwin.
Less enticing.
But
still probably would do.
Yeah, I love cashing in on Puka Nacua while Cooper Kupp is still out. Cooper Kupp is going to come back, and these are well above what you're going to be trading Nacua for after Cooper Kupp is back into that lineup. I like that move. Also, Scott Fishing here adding some context to Roschon, saying, Roschon was the 3rd RB in that game and only played with the game out of hand. So that could contribute to what we saw. Definitely adding to the fact that Ridley and Olave are probably way safer than Roschon this week. With that being said, it is time to get into our game of poll perception. Before that, a couple reminders. First and foremost, if you're not already following our guest, Nate, do it now.
Do it now.
You can find him on Twitter at Nate Marcum. It's right there below his handsome face on the screen. After you do that, head on back over here wherever you're watching. It's probably YouTube, and hit that subscribe button if you're on our channel at Front Yard Fantasy or that Better Sports Network YouTube channel. Then the little notification bell is going to make sure you never miss us going live every day at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you're looking for some week 2 DFS tips, you can head to fantasyalarm.com/NFL and start your 7-day free all-pro trial. All you got to do is go to fantasyalarm.com/NFL. You can get that started today. With that being said, I'm going to run through the rules of this game, and then we are going to get going. Before today's show, I found 7 beautiful, interesting, succulent, in-season polls that I'm going to ask you guys about. I will propose a poll to one of our contestants, at which point they will tell me the percentage of people that they think chose side A in that poll, the first option. The closer they are to the actual number, the more points they're going to get, up to 10 if they're exactly right, 1 if they're 15 away. It scales up there at certain intervals. Now, before I reveal that answer, though, your 2 opponents will have the opportunity to guess whether the actual answer, the percentage of people that chose side A, is over or under the number that you have selected. They'll get 2 points for correctly picking that. We're going to go like this through 6 polls, 2 polls for each of you before we get to our 7th and final poll, at which point there is no more of this over-under nonsense. It is just guessing the number, the percentage of people that chose side A. Whoever's the closest for that one is going to get 5 points unless they get it exactly right, and we're still giving out 10. And if you have the most points at the end of round 7, poll number 7, the end of this game, you are our poll perception champion for today. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm. Ready.
Well, too bad, because Swamp had a question for us, and I love Swamps. We're going to answer that real quick before we get in there. Swamp wants to know, which running back should I start in a half PPR league? We need to know, Swamp, is this your Jimmy John's league or your Super Smash league? It will affect our answers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Antonio Gibson, Miles Sanders, Isaiah Pacheco, or Samaje Perine? Nate, I'll throw this one to you first. Out of those 4, which running back would you plug into your lineup this week?
I mean, I'm going to say this, is that as a Chiefs fan, I realize that this sounds like more of the Homer aggravation or aggregation. But I do believe that you're starting to see Pacheco, at least from my account, from what I've heard, is that they do want to get him more involved. I know we said earlier about Mahomes wanting to get, the ball to whomever it is, but I don't trust CEH, and Jerick McKinnon's not exactly healthy right now. And I think that they have a chance to try to establish on the ground against Jacksonville. So I will go Isaiah Pacheco.
Isaiah Pacheco. Joey, which way are you rolling here?
I mean, I'm the Samaje Perine guy here, so I'm going to go Isaiah Pacheco. I completely agree with everything Nate said. He is my RB22. He's the only one I have ranked as an RB2 from this list here. Perine I've got down in the 30s. Gibson even lower. So, yeah, I like Pacheco. I like Miles Sanders. I just think the matchups might be a little difficult for him against New Orleans.
That's the other name I was going to bring up, Joey, was Miles Sanders is the one I'm deciding between him and Pacheco, but I do think the matchup makes me lean Pacheco's way.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say the matchup and the Vegas expecting this one to be much more higher scoring. They had the over-under set at 51 compared to 40 in the Carolina-New Orleans Saints.
We got a lot of gross totals this week. There's like 7 games with a total of 40 or lower sitting there. That Cowboys-Jets game leading the pack. It was at like 38 last time I checked there.
Yeah. But according to Joey's logic, Jacksonville is the hardest defense against the running back. So we have to take that into account.
Can I ask what the sample size is on that?
You may. It is exactly 1 week.
All right. Well, guys, we got a game all about sample size here. And a game of full perception.
Nice.
The order
segue,
for today's
Simon.
Game is going to be Joey Wright, then Nate Marcum, then John-Luke Garofalo. So, Joey, you are going to be up first, followed by Nate, followed by John-Luke. Are you ready to get into poll number 1 here?
I am.
Let's do it. Here is your first poll, Joey. Which side would you prefer in 12-team Superflex Dynasty? Side A is Jahmyr Gibbs and a 2024 first. Side B is Christian McCaffrey. What percentage of people chose the Jahmyr Gibbs and a first side of this trade?
Man, I really love Jahmyr Gibbs, but I'm not the only person that voted on this poll. I would pick side A. I don't know how many people would be on board with me. Christian McCaffrey is 27, 28 now. So he's getting close to that advanced running back age. He's had a few injuries. I think side A is going to win this. I don't think they're going to win by much, though. I'll go 55% side A.
What was the number, Joey?
5-5.
55% on side A. Nate, I'm going to come to you first. Do you think the actual percentage of people that chose Jahmyr Gibbs in the 24 first is over or under Joey's guess of 55%?
I love the 55 number, but I'm going to say it's over 55, strictly because, I mean, next year's draft class has some really, really high-end value. So I'll lean on our Dynasty guys knowing next year's draft as well.
Gonna take the over there. John Luke, are you agreeing with Nate's take here that it's over? Or are you going to take the under on Joey's guess of 55%?
I do agree with my good friend Nate here. I think it's going to be over 55 as well. I was thinking somewhere around 65 when I first saw the poll, but we'll see.
You're taking the over as well, John Luke? Lock it in. We've got 55%, 2 overs, and we have some answers in the chat.
And some questions, which we'll hit in between these rounds.
Absolutely. If you've got questions, throw them in there. And in between rounds of the game, we'll make sure we hit them. Scamper's coming in with 86%. Craig thinks it's 65. Dame coming in with 39%. Grim fan says 37%. Dustin thinks it's 72%. Like Albert coming in with 69%. And Carlos thinks it is 43%.
Carlos is wrong.
All over the
actual percentage of people that chose the Jahmyr Gibbs in 2024 first side of this poll was 73%. People love the Gibbs in the first side here. Joey, unfortunately, that is going to be no points for you. But John, Luke, and Nate, you guys are both going to get 2 points for correctly picking the over guys. On this one.
Thank you.
And Joey?
I was fully expecting Joey to nail that exactly correct and just
ruin us.
Shit all over me for the rest of the show.
Felt it in your bones that's what was coming.
I felt it so hard, yeah.
Jail, which side of this trade would you be taking? Joey said he would be on the Jahmyr Gibbs side. Are you with him? Are you taking the Jahmyr Gibbs side of this?
I am. And this comes down to a little bit of how I like to play Dynasty, but also just how I evaluate player value in Dynasty. I'm looking at lifetime value. So what is the overall value of that asset's career, and going forward? So for CMC, that's how many fantasy points is he going to be able to realistically produce and for how many years? And then looking at Jahmyr Gibbs in the 2024 first and performing that same sort of evaluation. And when I look at it that way, the side A is almost certainly always the better route here versus putting all of that leverage onto one player.
Joey, you mentioned Jahmyr Gibbs being your preferred option in this. Is it similar reasoning to why JL stated there?
Absolutely. And not just, I mean, okay, we'll say just that. I'm not ready to say Jahmyr Gibbs is a better football player than Christian McCaffrey because that's absurd to say. But
nobody's saying that.
I think at this point in their careers, it's not far off. It could be as soon as next year. It could be as soon as the end of this season. So I honestly don't really mind the trade straight up, to be honest with you. I would really have to think about it. Maybe I'm just super high on Jahmyr Gibbs, but he's got that first, overall 10 pick value from the first round. Yeah.
Nate, I see you nodding along. Does that mean you're equally as high on a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs?
I am. He's one slip and fall away from running to the outside and scoring that touchdown against Kansas City. And all of a sudden this pick would be 90% side A instead of 65. So, I mean, yeah, the sky's the limit.
I love looking at the almost plays from week one. It's been brought because it matters. T. Higgins almost had a great game, 8 targets with 0 receptions. Chigozie McConkle almost had that touchdown in the end zone. Maybe he's a guy you look at in week 2. Jahmyr Gibbs almost got out the outside for that touch. Like those almost plays hit.
John Dotson.
He just got way too excited. He got way too excited and fell down at the 8-yard line. As was I, jumping on my couch.
Well, we got some questions in here. AS wants to know, do you prefer Godwin or Debo rest of season, half PPR? Nate, I'll throw this one to you first. Rest of season, who do you want on your roster?
As much as I'm not the biggest fan of Debo, his efficiency and so far what Brock Purdy has done as far as what I thought would be a regressive touchdown percentage seems to maintain. So I think just with the ball in his hand, I trust Debo getting the ball in his hand consistently more than Godwin.
Joey, which way are you rolling? Bucks fan? Are you rolling with the Bucks player?
As the Bucks fan and the Debo hater from this season, I'm going to be going with Debo Samuel. There is a line for me, and I do think there are better days ahead for Debo. What we saw last week, I think we're going to get a better performance out of him going forth. I don't necessarily think Ayuk. I do think he's the wide receiver 1 there, but Debo will have wide receiver 1 weeks. Godwin, I'm scared of this offense with Baker. I still am. 1 week didn't solidify any type of faith in him at all. So yeah, it's Debo for me.
Julio in here, giving us a peek at his team before he throws a question our way. For running back, he's got Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Tony Pollard, James Conner, Khalil Herbert, and Jeff Wilson. So take a peek at that running back core. Pretty good. Then wide receivers, Olave, Deontay Johnson, Sky Moore, and Jameson Williams. So not doing as hot on wide receiver. Wants to know if he should trade away Khalil Herbert for Zay Jones to shore up those wide receivers. John Luke, I'm going to throw this one to you first. Do you think, given his team, Julio's team, that he should trade Khalil Herbert for Zay Jones?
Trading away Khalil Herbert, you have Bijan, Tyler Algier, Pollard, James Conner. Oh, that's a pretty solid running back core. And then Olave, Deontay Johnson, Sky Moore, Jameson Williams. Yeah, but I think you can probably get more than Zay Jones for Khalil Herbert after the week he had.
I'm with you, JL. And Zay Jones, while I think he's worthwhile getting, I think you could aim a little bit higher. Like, I don't think this is unfair. If this is the best player you can get, I'd pull the trigger and I'd do it. But I'm with you. I do think maybe there's a better player you could get.
Like maybe package a Khalil and someone else for like a Zay Flowers. Upgrade your Zay.
Good luck trading from the Zay Flowers manager right now after week 1. But I like that kind of thinking. Maybe someone, maybe a little less, maybe a Christian Watson before he comes back into the fray. See if you could grab him. We also had a question in here from George. Wants to know, should I drop Deontay Johnson for Rashee Rice, Calvin Austin, or Josh Reynolds? Joey, would you be making this drop?
The only one I'm sort of thinking about is Rashee Rice, and it's still a no.
Still a no. What about you, Nate?
Yeah, it's still a no. I trust Deontay to come. I mean, it might be 3-4 weeks, but nobody really has enough upside of those 3.
Yeah. JL, do you have enough faith in Deontay to hold him on your roster when looking at those other names?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Well, we had one more question in here from Neek. Wants to know, do I trade ETN and Waller for Connor and Hawkinson? Has McCaffrey, but they both have buys on week 9. I don't know who retirement is. I'm guessing that was a typo down there. McCaffrey and retirement, but they both have buys on week 9. Let us know who retirement is, Neek. Maybe Ramondre? Do the Patriots have a week 9 bye? Nate, would you be trading ETN and Waller for Connor and Hawkinson?
I wouldn't. No, I was very impressed with ETN's usage. I know Bigsby stole the touchdown, but I've been high on ETN and I've only gotten a little bit higher, and I'm staying that side.
I feel like Bigsby deserved that touchdown because he had like the run right before it to get him up to the goal line.
Fair enough.
But I was sitting there, Nate, going, "Oh, I'd be so mad if he didn't get that run right before." Like, I wanted to be mad.
You wanted to be mad that it wasn't ETN getting that touchdown.
Yeah, but I was like, no, Tank deserves it.
All right, well, guys, if you've got more questions, make sure to throw them in the chat. We're going to keep going with our game. It is time for Nate's first poll. And Nate and JL are up 2-0 on Joey. But Joey, you got plenty of time to come back. Nate, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I want to know, or here's what Twitter wanted to know. Which player is the better waiver wire pickup? Side A is Kyron Williams. Side B is Kenneth Gainwell. What percentage of people said Kyron Williams in this poll?
I wonder if this is before the Kenneth Gainwell injury.
This is before the Kenneth Gainwell injury.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up, Nate.
No. Thank you for giving me a little hint there. I feel like you wouldn't have given Joey that same hint. So
I will always
you like guests
if needed.
Ah, damn it! All right, I thought I was special.
I mean, screw Joey.
Yeah, screw Joey. And he's just got to unmute his mic so that we have to listen to the drilling.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna say 39%.
39% on the Kyron Williams side. John Luke, what do you think of Nate's answer? Do you think the actual answer is over, under what Nate said at 39%?
39%. I'll take the over.
JL taking the over. Joey, you following JL here?
Over.
We got double overs from these two jabronis and some guesses in the chat. I see your questions coming in. We're going to hit these in between. Mr. Scamper's coming in with a guess of 31%. Dame thinks it's 33%. Grimfan is Queen B and Nate. So Nate likes your answer so much, he says, I'm going with exactly that number. Craig down here with 35%. Carlos with 43%. And Albert coming in right here with 45%. Well, the actual percentage of people that chose the Kyren Williams side of this poll was 44%. Nate,
stupid people.
You were right there, though, within 5, which is going to earn you 5 points on this poll and get you a little bit ahead of these guys. 2 points for both Joey.
Great job, Nate.
JL.
Thank you.
Great job, Joey.
Joey, 2 points. JL up to 4. And Nate, that is going to put you up to 7 in an early lead. Before we move on from this one, Nate, I'm going to ask you this question straight up. Which one of these guys do you think was the better waiver wire pickup this week? Was it Kyren Williams or was it Kenneth Gainwell?
I still think it's Kenneth Gainwell. I like, and Kyren Williams is a St. Louis guy too. So I'm, I kind of want to buy into it. And the usage was just gross. I mean, Cam Akers, 22 attempts for nothing. I mean, it was definitely indications that that Cam Akers won't run away with the role. And I think Kyren Williams will have some piece of it, but there's a non-zero chance that Kenneth Gainwell doesn't have a Miles Sanders-esque type season if and only if Rashad Penny falls along the same line that he always does, which is getting hurt, and DeAndre Swift doesn't do what DeAndre Swift can do, which we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Joey, are you agreeing here, or are you preferring the Ram Kyren Williams?
I mean, now Kyren Williams, but before it would probably be Kenneth Gainwell. But yeah, I'll still stick with Kyren Williams. I'll bring my Cam Akers hate back to the table.
I'm going to stick with Kyren Williams. It's more what I saw out of the other running backs or what I know of the other running backs. I'm more scared of Rashad Penny than what I saw out of Cam Akers in week 1. I was waiting for the Cam Akers is injured. Cam Akers is dealing with something in his leg, because 22 carries for 29 yards is that's insane. I just can't see them giving him that many carries going forward when that's what he did with it in week 1. So I'm in on Kyren Williams. I think he's the surprise starter of this offseason, and that's where I'm going to roll.
The question is, what will he do with those? Because the Rams are going to be atrocious this year for pretty much the entire season. And that's sorry for the, we think Cooper Kupp's going to come back healthy. Maybe I worry about that a little bit more.
Fingers crossed. We're hoping for that.
I'm right there with you.
Also, Scott Fish down here was coming in saying the routes run for ETN was insane. So many and almost none for Tank. We had a question in here from Eric. Wanted to know if we would trade Derrick Henry for Josh Jacobs straight up in a half PPR 10-team league. John Luke, you making this move?
I don't like these types of trades. These 1-for-1 same position trades, they don't really give your team that much of an advantage, and they pitch you against your league mates so that one person is going to lose. And that kind of degrades the trade relationship that you want to build with your league mates. Because remember, trading is it's a way for 2 managers to get together, increase both of their probabilities in winning the championship against all the rest of them. So I would not make this trade. I think they're close enough. And also, I watched Derrick Henry just stiff arm a dude into the earth again for the 1,000th time this past weekend. And I couldn't.
I'll do it. I'll take Josh Jacobs. I will take Josh Jacobs. I know it's 1 week of usage there, but we've seen Josh Jacobs. We talk about the heavy usage for Derrick Henry, but we also saw Josh Jacobs do that last season, right? And one of these guys played the majority of snaps in week 1, and one of them didn't. And I'll take the guy, Josh Jacobs, who we watched do it last season, who played the far more majority of the snaps on his team in week 1, and just cash in right away. It's top tier for top tier. And I know it's a small sample size. You're probably going to be happy either way. I'll take what I view as a little bit more upside with Josh Jacobs. Joey, I see you nodding your head back and forth up there. You disagreeing with me on JL's side?
I am disagreeing with you, Simon, and maybe that's why I'm so upset, because I have to agree with JL today. But no, I agree with it's King Henry, and it's one of those trades where they're so close that I don't want to make the trade, because should I be the one to lose it, it'll eat me up even more, and I don't want to deal with that. And the half PPR doesn't change much for me. Maybe if it's full PPR, I would go to the Jacobs side, but it's not. It's half PPR, so I'm going to stick with King Henry.
And the Titans barely used Henry in the second half of this past week, so I would expect him to be in for more, that snap percentage to go up. I'm not worried about Derrick Henry's time on the field.
That's fair. I haven't seen the Titans get another running back as involved as they did in week 1. And that was not concerning. There's still plenty for Henry. He's still the RB1 in that team, but maybe they're trying not to keep him on the field as much as they have in years past. Dude is getting older. We got the Humbert in here with a question for us. Wants to know who you starting on flex. Nate, I'm going to throw this one to you first. Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, Tyler Algier, or Breece Hall. has Brian Robinson and James Conner starting at running back. So out of Flowers, Addison, Algier, and Hall, who are you plugging into that flex spot?
I think that's Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson. That makes a lot more sense than Brian Robinson. Though Brian Robinson's a decent start.
Yeah. I think he probably would have been in that flex conversation question
probably
as much, which would have muddied it even more so. Man, it's hard for me to go away from Zay Flowers after how he looked. But you know what? I'm gonna do one thing. I'm gonna go Jordan Addison. Number one, like we talked about earlier. Thursday night. Number two, they were the only team that played 3 wide receiver sets the entire time in the NFL. So we know he's going to be on the field, guaranteed. I shouldn't say guaranteed. Scratch guaranteed from that. He should be on the field the majority of the times. And it's Thursday night. So let's have some fun.
Gonna roll out there with Addison. John Luke, who are you plugging in out of these 4?
I would throw in Breece Hall. I think Zach Wilson is going to be going up against that Dallas D, and it's going to be tough. Breece Hall looked fantastic when he got the ball this past week. His vision and just like he reminds me so much of Le'Veon Bell running the ball. When I watch him play, it's just like, wow, it's like he's effortlessly just running through the defense. And we got to see that again in week 1. I'm hoping that they'll use him as a safety blanket here for Zach Wilson.
My only concern is that because Zach Wilson is the quarterback, that Cowboys defense is going to say, beat us, Zach Wilson. Do it. Do it through the air. And they're just going to load that box, and it's going to be top sledding. And then I'm cheering for him to do it, baby. Did you see that video of all the teammates and coaches being so sweet to Zach Wilson on the sideline? Like, that's how you do it, baby.
I am all in.
I'm tearing up at my computer this morning, just watching everyone be so sweet to him after he won that game.
The universe is putting together the perfect redemption narrative for him. It's the hero's journey, but like condensed into like 3 months. It's amazing.
All he has to do is not screw it up. I think I'm rolling Zay Flowers here to add a third name in there. Joey, maybe you can break the tie. Are you going with one of the 3 we said, or are you going to make it completely useless for the Humbird and go Tyler Algier?
I'm not going to make it completely useless. I'm actually going to sit James Conner and start Breece Hall and then throw Zay Flowers in there. I don't really want to play Conner this year. Maybe I'm just completely out, and he's playing the Giants, who, yeah, they gave up a lot of work to Pollard, but I don't know. I'm just not liking this Arizona offense this year.
So you're benching.
But yeah, so we'll go Zay Flowers then.
Zay Flowers. Unruly Drip wanted to know our thoughts on his trade. Trade Breece Hall and Jerry Jeudy for T. Higgins and Jonathan Taylor. Nate, what do you make of this?
God, I wish I had some clarity on this Jonathan Taylor situation whatsoever. I mean, even with that, I still think I feel more comfortable with the Breece Hall, Jerry Jeudy side. Now that the narrative of, Zach Wilson is our savior and hero, I have to fall on the Jets side. I want to rely on Breece Hall. I just don't trust the Jonathan Taylor scenario to unfold into anything clean.
JL, which side of this are you rolling with? This is a tricky one.
This is a tricky one. I want to go T. Higgins and Jonathan Taylor because I think at the end of the season, that's probably going to be the better move. But I'm with Nate. I think there's enough risk here, and it's early enough in the season. I'll probably just stick with Breece Hall and Jerry Jeudy.
All right, well, guys, we're going to hit up one more question here before we roll on with our game. Z Money wants to know, 2-part question. Do I start T-Law versus the Chiefs or Anthony Richardson versus the Texans? Joey, which way you rolling here?
I'll go T-Law. I want pieces in that game. It reminds me of the Chargers-Dolphins last week. There's just going to be a lot of points scored. I'm
T-Law. With you. And then Nate, Z-Money also wanted to know, is there a world where I don't start Justin Jefferson versus the Eagles defense, or is Justin Jefferson a plug him in every week?
He's a plug him in every week. And they don't have James Bradbury. They're missing pieces across the defense. So ultimately, I think come on. Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it. Well, John Luke, it's your turn to overthink a poll as we get into the third question of this game. The score is Joey 2, Nate 7, John Luke 4. You ready for your first poll of the game? Here we go. What I want to know is, which side do you prefer in 12-team dynasty? Side A is Jahan Dotson plus Puka Nacua plus Damian Pierce. Side B is T. Higgins. What percentage of people chose side A in this poll?
Ooh, the hype train versus T. Higgins.
I thought you were going to give like a cool nickname to the other side too.
It's just T. It's just him.
Just T.
I think T. Higgins is still going to win this because I think people don't like it when they see 3 players for their 1 player. I'm going to go with 35%.
35% on the package side. Joey, do you think the actual percentage of people that chose this package over T. Higgins is over or under Jail's guess at 35%?
Over.
Over. Nate, what are you thinking here?
God, I'm gonna take the over, but I bet JL's within that 5.
Taking the over, but JL's close. Well, we got some guesses in the chat here as well. Craig coming in with 45%. Mr. Scamper's coming in with 62%. Dame thinks it is 44%. Well, guys, the actual percentage of people
too high
that chose Jahan Dotson, Puka Nacua, and Dameon Pierce over T. Higgins was 65%.
Wow.
John Luke, unfortunately, that is going to be no points for you. 2 points for each of your opponents, and your jaw is on the floor. Jail, I think you gave the nickname to the left, but you should have kept going and remembered what T. Higgins did in week 1 as well, which was a big old goose egg. This was the hype train versus the goose egg, and boy, is recency bias a bitch.
Did they watch the game?
Probably not.
It's not T. Higgins' fault. What are you doing, Twitter? Don't do this trade. Oh my God. Go make this trade if you have Jahan Dotson, Puka Nacua, and Dameon Pierce. Go send out this.
Joey, while Jail's jaw hit the floor, I saw you nod your head thinking it was about what you expected. You weren't surprised by this?
No, I think if you're making this trade, you're going to need to build your team. And Jahan Dotson plus Dameon Pierce is enough for me to make the T. Higgins move. Now, yeah, I'm really high on Dameon Pierce, but I'm also really high on Jahan Dotson. And I don't think that's a terrible wide receiver to package with a top, can we say 15 running back rest of the season? That might be pushing a little bit. Sorry. But for T. Higgins, like
in Dynasty?
In Dynasty, I think we could say top 15 running back easy for Dameon Pierce. For T. Higgins, who I love T. Higgins, but he had 8 targets and he didn't catch any of them. I mean, it was weather related, if you ask me, but I don't think it's a horrible side to trade. Puka Nacua doesn't even factor into it for me. That's just like a little cherry on top.
Shout out to Grim for being the closest on this one with 62%. Nice job.
Scam.
Cody came down here and said Higgins got bonked. Yeah, that was an absolute bonk of the game right there.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to answer a couple of these questions before we get into round 2 here shortly. Boy, it is in season. Grim fan wanted to know Zach Moss or Gus Edwards, full PPR. John Luke, which way you rolling here? The Gus bus filling in for the injured J.K. Dobbins? Maybe. It could be Melvin Gordon. Could be Justice Hill. Or Zach Moss filling in for the holding out Jonathan Taylor with Evan Hull now on IR as well.
I would go Gus Edwards. It feels like he is the known variable in that offense.
I'm with you, Jail. It's going to be Gus Edwards for me. Nate, you're nodding along. Do you agree?
Yeah. Yep, I do.
Joey, Craig wanted to know thoughts on this trade. A garden spider and 5 flies for a Venus flytrap. Have to start 1 plant, 1 arachnid, and 3 insects each week. Are you making this move?
Yes, because I'm afraid that the spider would eat all the flies and you'd be left with nothing.
A garden spider and 5 flies.
Fat spider.
Man, my only concern is you're giving away all the food for your fly trap before you acquire a fly trap. You're going to have to go out and acquire some new flies.
Then what is it going to eat?
Well, there's this movie I saw about like a fly trap, and they kept feeding it people, and it seemed to thrive. So,
documentary?
I think it is a documentary.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
They sang in it. It was weird. They were singing in the documentary. I couldn't believe it.
That's pretty much
Rick
my life.
was there for some reason. I don't know.
Carlos wants to know he's been eyeing down Nico Collins on the waiver wire and has Sutton sitting on his bench. Nate, would you drop Cortland Sutton to put Nico Collins on your bench, or are you sitting there with Sutton for a couple more weeks?
Carlos just digs right at my heart, tugs on my heartstrings with both of these two because I love Nico Collins coming in. And yeah, only a degenerate like me would like both of these two names. But it's like, you know what? I'm going to still go with my Nico love. I'm going to follow up because Judy's going to come back. Sutton's going to just be there. I think the ceiling is higher for Nico Collins, which is crazy to think. But I'm going to stick with it.
That's a bizarre sentence, but I don't disagree with you, Nate. I don't disagree with that sentence. JL, which way are you rolling here?
I would lean the Cortland Sutton side.
Leaning Cortland Sutton. Scott in here coming in saying, for me, trading is when you agree with a buddy to trade him your worst players for his best players to make one super team. Collusion. Scott Fish is pro collusion. You heard it here first.
Scott Fish.
Our great friend with, I think this is a German name, Clap Nuts, said looking to sell Pittman, but not sure his value. Looking for a running back in return, but IDK, what would be a good offer? Joey, if you're looking to trade away a Michael Pittman, what are you realistically expecting back in return in regards to like running back value?
Let me look at my running backs real quick and just see like where's the range of running back I'm looking at for Michael Pittman. I think Michael Pittman had a good week last week. I think you could look for Dameon Pierce. Maybe Alexander Madison. That's around the range I would shoot for.
According to Najee Harris is in that range after
he better not be
much.
No, I think Najee's if you can get him, go get him. I think Najee has much better days ahead of him, but
people are down on him, man. People are down on him. So go ahead, John Luke.
According to our friend Peaked in High School's trade value charts, Michael Pittman's going around the range of a Javonte Williams, Brian Robinson, Rashad White, Khalil Herbert, if you can believe that.
So lower. Okay.
I would start with the range Joey said, but maybe be willing to settle down there where JL is talking. But week one overreactions, these values are the least sticky they're going to be all season. So expect some big changes and some big variance from league to league. George wanted to know Zay Jones or JSN in non-PPR. Nate, in a non-PPR league, which of those wide receivers would you be rolling out?
The one who's probably on the field the most, which would be Zay Jones. And since he was out there predominantly in 2 wide receiver sets. So, I mean, it's
crazy.
It's close, but yeah, I know I was way wrong. I never would have thought it would have been him outproducing Kirk, but I don't like it, but I'm going to say Zay Jones.
Man, I feel like I drafted a lot of Zay Jones just on accident this year. Like towards the end of drafts, just like, I don't know, it was pretty good last year. Yeah. And I'm sitting there like, I'm like, man, I got a free wide receiver 3 just sitting there at the end of drafts. We're going to roll into our next poll here. Keep those questions coming. We're going to get to as many of them as possible throughout today's show. But if we do not get to your question, right below us in the description of this YouTube video, we'll throw it in the chat as well as a link to join our Discord where we will answer any and all of your questions that you got for us. So we'll keep answering them throughout the show. But if we don't get to it, I'm sorry in advance. It's personal. It's because we hate you. But we'll love you again and answer it if you join the Discord.
Just be more likable.
Just be more likable. It's that easy. All right, guys, we are moving into round 2 here, which means we have a new mechanic to introduce. Instead of just over, under, and queen bee, I'm going to kill you, Joey, every time.
It gets me every time. I'm sorry.
Now guess
we have Paul, the mechanic.
We have Paul, the mechanic, coming by to explain the new rule. What's up, guys? I'm Paul. You can answer way over or way under as well. If you think the actual answer is 15 percentage points or more away, more than 15 percentage points away, that is non-inclusive. So it needs to be 16 or more away. You will get double the points. You're going to get 4 points for guessing that. Now, if you guess way over and it's only 10 percentage points away, you're getting nothing. So it is a double or nothing mechanic. Your opponents have to make a bad guess in order for you to do this. Joey, you ready for your next poll?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, here's what I want to know. Is which side would you prefer in Dynasty? Side A is Roshan Johnson and Khalil Herbert. Side B is Alexander Madison and DeAndre Swift. What percentage of people said Roshan Johnson and Khalil Herbert?
I think the Roshan Johnson, Khalil Herbert side will win this out. There's a little more youth on that side. And DeAndre Swift is washed up. So let's see. I'll say 64%.
64% on the Roshan and Khalil side. Nate, which way are you rolling here? Over, under, way over, or way under Joey's guess of 64%?
I'm taking under. I mean, it just makes sense to diversify, I guess. If you're going to hit on two bad lottery picks, maybe one of them isn't as bad in Madison and Swift. But yeah, I'm going to say under.
Nate taking the under. JL, are you following Nate under Joey's guess, or are you taking the path less traveled and going on top of Joey? I mean, over Joey.
I would never go over Joey, not if a million years depended on it. So I will go under.
We've got 2 people under Joey after that one. 64% with the double.
I'm a lot heavier than
under.
I look, so that's
I have far too much respect for him.
We got some answers in the chat as well. Dame coming in with 74%. Swamp thinks it's 69%. Mr. Scamper's up at 81%. Jerry agreeing with you guys on the under, saying 35%. So some answers a little bit all over the place on this one. Grimfan taking the way under, thinks it is way lower than Joey's guess of 64%. Well, the actual percentage of people that chose Roshan Johnson and Khalil Herbert in this trade or in this poll was 52%. Joey, you are 12 percentage points away, which is going to earn you 1 point, but each of your opponents will get 2 points for correctly identifying the under.
Job.
Nate,
Yes.
who is the most valuable piece in this trade in a dynasty league to you? Because they all seem relatively close. Different strengths, different weaknesses, some younger, some older.
I'm going to say, even if I don't agree with this, I'm going to say Alexander Madison. I think that people see him as the only one that's a true, probably workhorse back. And I know that he's polarizing going in. And when you have a polarizing player, 50% are probably way too high on him. 50% are probably way too low on him. And so I'll say the Madison side, or at least Madison by himself.
Madison by himself, the most valuable piece. Well, guys, after that poll, the score is Joey 5, Nate 11, John Luke 6. And we are moving into our next poll. Nate, this one's coming your way. It's your last poll before the final round. Are you ready for it?
Yes, sir.
See if you can extend your lead. Here's what I want to know is which tight end would you prefer rest of season in half PPR? Side A is Luke Musgrave. Side B is Hunter Henry. What percentage of people said Luke Musgrave in this poll?
This is a tricky one because rest of season, Watson misses week 1. He's going to come. I'm going to say 44%.
44% on the Luke Musgrave side. JL. I almost called you Joey L for a second. Joey L, what percentage of people do you think chose side A Luke Musgrave? Over or under Nate's guess of 44%?
I think it's under. I think people are going to be hyped about the Mac Jones stuff. I'm going to go under.
JL taking the under. Joey, are you following JL on the under? Or are you taking the over here?
We'll see what the score is. I'll go with JL under.
We've got double unders here and some guesses in the chat. Scampers coming in with 72%. Dame thinks it is 59% on the Musgrave side. Scott Fish said, love Luke Musgrave, have all his country albums.
Very good.
And then Andrew Cooper in here saying the right answer is Musgrave. So Twitter definitely picked Hunter Henry.
Absolutely.
Cody thinks it's 69% and Jerry thinks it is 33%. Well, the actual percentage of people that chose Luke Musgrave over Hunter Henry rest of season in a half PPR league was Coop. Restore some faith in Twitter. It was 58% on the Luke Musgrave side, which means, Nate, you're within 14 percentage points away. You're still squeezing a point out of this one, bringing you up to 12. And better yet, you blocked out both of your opponents from scoring. Net 1 point going your way on this one. Some disappointment, but you guys are still within striking range of Nate here. The game is not over, and we have 2 more polls. Before we do that, there were some questions in here. We're going to hit 1 or 2 of these. George wanted to know, JL, I'm going to throw this one your way. Justin Fields or Tua Tagovailoa this week?
I would go Tua.
Yeah, after watching Tua throw for damn near 500 yards in week 1, I know it was against the Chargers. I know this is the New England Patriots, an in-division game, but that Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle offense is too exciting for me not to put him in.
I know this is a narrative, but the Patriots break when they play the Dolphins. I don't know what it is. They just don't know how to do it.
Joey, are you starting Justin Fields against your Buccaneers, or are you taking Tua against the Patriots?
I'm sorry, Tampa Bay. I'll go Justin Fields. I think he has a bounce back game. Yeah.
Oh, I hope so.
Don't win, Tampa Bay. Come on. Let's stop this. We're not a winning team this year.
Nate, a question from Hunter in here for you. I wanted to know Anthony Richardson or Deshaun Watson in week 2. Which way would you be rolling here?
I'm an Anthony Richardson fan. I have him as QB 10 on the week. So and Watson at 14. So yeah.
Music to Joey's ears. He loves some Anthony Richardson. Joey, would you be following Nate into Anthony Richardson land this week, or are you rolling with Deshaun Watson?
I will follow Nate into the dark. I've got them back to back, but it's Richardson for me.
Anthony Richardson making that start. All right. Well, John Luke, are you ready for your final poll in this game? The penultimate poll of the entire game.
Yep.
Let's do it. We've talked about him a little bit earlier, but not in this context. What I want to know is which player would you prefer in Dynasty? Side A is Kyren Williams and side B is Devon Achane. What percentage of people said Kyren Williams in this poll?
think 38%.
38%, JL? Final answer?
Yes.
Locking it in.
Yes.
Okay, 38% is locked in. Joey, do you think the actual answer is over or under JL's guess of 38% on the Kyron Williams side here?
Under.
Joey is taking the under. Nate, what say you? Say you what Joey say? Under or say you something else?
Man, that was a great number because that's pretty much, I'm going to say, you know what? I'll make this interesting. I'll go over.
Nate taking the over.
Not a gamesmanship move. You know, I don't like that. I could have taken that route, but where's the fun in that?
Nate's following his heart.
You're a gentleman.
Taking the over.
Can't be possibly in the game. Love it.
We got some guesses in the chat. 41% from Cody. Craig with 25%. Mr. Scampers thinks it's 51%. Dame is queen being your guess.
It was
John
a good guess.
Grim is 8%.
Let's ride.
Jerry thinks it's 46%. Well, the actual percentage of people that chose. What was the question I asked you again? Oh, yeah. Kyron Williams over Devon Chain was 36%.
No
John
way.
Luke
Yeah.
just about nailed it. Dame was spot on when she tried to queen bee you there. That is going to earn you 5 points for being within 5. Put you right back in this game. Joey, you were going to earn 2 points for correctly picking the under on that one, bringing you up to 7. JL, this is going to put you up to 11. And all of a sudden, we have a freaking game here going into the final round. Joey, if you're the closest on this last one, you're going to tie it up with Nate for the W. JL or Nate, if you are closest, you will win this game. Are you ready for the ever so important final poll?
Yes.
Let's do this. Do you have pen and paper ready, all contestants, or a phone or something to write on?
Yep.
Okay, here is your final poll. What are you referring to when you say cheese stick? Side A is string cheese. Side B is a mozzarella stick. What percentage of people said side A, string cheese?
All right, so there's a right answer and another answer. And we all know which is which.
Let me know when you guys have your answers up there. While we're waiting, I'm going to remind everybody, if we don't get to your questions on today's show, we are running towards the end. Join our Discord. You can find the link below us in the description of this YouTube video. We have a whole fantasy questions channel in there where we'd be more than happy to answer any and all fantasy questions you throw our way. All right, everyone have their answers? Let's go ahead and reveal them. JL with 72%.
Ooh.
Joey with
77.
77. And Nate.
I'm taking 30. I'm the opposite.
31.
Yeah.
We saved a turtle yesterday. That's a picture of that.
See, string cheese.
I'm having to do a little bit of math right here. One moment.
Do you call mozzarella sticks cheese sticks, Nate?
Yeah, I don't know if I do actually.
JL.
Son of a bitch.
JL, what was your answer again?
72%.
Okay.
JL boxed me
Nate,
out.
what was your answer?
31%. And you know what was where's the C answer for the breadsticks that are cheese on it? That's what I needed.
That's a real cheese
Damn
stick.
it.
Yeah.
Well, we had some answers in the chat. Carlos with 57%. Scamper says 73. Dame says 90. Swamp says like
Dame.
IDK 80%.
Come on, Twitter,
Luke
be
coming
stupid.
in saying side A should be 100%. Craig with
let's
25%. Jerry was 69%. Cody said negative 1,000%. Why would you not choose the deep fried version?
It's not about choosing it. It's asking about the
Carlos said
word.
side A is the correct answer, but Twitter is always wild. And Dustin says, what psychopath calls a mozzarella stick a cheese stick? And Andrew Cooper say, Nate, you are outside of your mind.
I'm playing the role of Twitter, not what I would say, when in reality, JL just proved me completely wrong that I was way out. Yes. Thanks,
Well, the
Coop.
correct answer to this poll,
well, anyway,
about half the population thinks about half the population is crazy because it is 54%, meaning only 17 percentage points away. John Luke Garofalo, you are our winner of today's game, pulling it out with 2 guesses at the very end to secure your victory. I'm sorry, Nate. JL pulled it out from under you right at the last second.
Should have taken the under.
I don't want to demean JL's win today, but we should look at the sample size. He's only played in one game this week.
That's true.
That is true.
That's true.
JL, by a final score of 16 to 12 to 7, you are our victor. But Nate, thank you so much for taking the time to come on. A fantastic game, and we appreciate you, as always, coming to hang out with us.
If I had a laptop, I would slam it shut right now and walk out in anger, but I don't. So I'll just.
That means we did our
Way to be a
sir.
drama queen, but okay.
exactly what we were going for.
Well, I'm grateful you don't have a laptop. I get at least 10 more seconds of Nate in here. Guys, that is...
I'm just sitting here thinking about the chaos that would be introduced by someone ordering cheese sticks at a restaurant, because it's not like anywhere you go to get mozzarella sticks, they probably have cheese sticks on the menu too.
Wait,
and
what?
What's happening?
Yeah, and they're bread with cheese on them.
I've never been to a restaurant where they serve like cellophane wrapped string cheese.
No.
Could you please unwrap my cheese stick for
pizza
me?
one.
I'm only 4 years old.
Yes, I would like cheese sticks, the right kind, mind you.
Yeah.
Do you have Gouda? No.
All right. Craig coming in saying Nate scored 1 point better than last time, moving the way up that scoreboard. That is going to be it for us today, though. If you're not already following Nate, you need to go fix that right now. You can find him on Twitter at Nate Marcum. And Nate, thank you so much for taking the time to come and hang out with us again today, my friend.
This is a blast. I am very, very disappointed as I was last time, but you play
and you'll be next
I
time.
will, exactly. I come in with this set of disappointment, so the bar is always low to jump over.
That's how I wake up every single morning. It improves my life.
That's where we like to set it. Yeah.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your Thursday night football, whether you're cheering for the Vikings, Eagles, or just something fun on a Thursday night. We'll see you guys same time, same place, 3 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow and every day, Monday through Friday. Until then, though, adios, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.